Hi, Amit. Good evening and welcome to this Alum Talk series of GRMI. Absolutely delighted to have you join us for this session. Uh, as you all know, the Institute's always taken a huge amount of pride in what our alums do. And a lot of what we are today is on the back of the terrific stuff that you, like some of our other alums, have achieved in your careers. So as we start this off, let's do it very simple, which is just talk to me a little bit about what is your current role. We all see you as a cyber leader, a regional cyber leader in the world of GE. So just talk to us a little bit about your role.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir, and thank GRMI for having me here on this particular session. I think really grateful for all the opportunities that GRMI has given me. So just introducing about my role. I'm currently with G Aerospace. I'm the regional cybersecurity leader for APAC and EMEA region. I look into all the cybersecurity aspects from risk assessment, from cybersecurity perspective, third-party risk management, training and awareness, and other regulatory compliance perspective. So it's more of taking care of all the sites in from Europe to Australia. We have around 25 sites. So those are the sites where I am responsible for all the cybersecurity operations.
Terrific. So, Amit, you are someone who, out of the institute, started your career with consulting. If I remember correct, it was KPMG.
Yeah.
And then you kind of found your way through to this world of GE. So talk to us a little bit about, compare and contrast your life in consulting, your learnings from consulting, and today, how are you sort of applying all of it in the sort of world of GE and in the industry world?
Absolutely. I think post my graduation at GRMI, I did land up a role in KPMG Consulting in the cybersecurity practice. The experience out there in consulting was really different because it's just that moving across various clients every quarter was a huge challenge. But what I love especially is that when you interact with the CXOs, what KPMG provides that opportunity to directly interact with the CXOs is something that's really a key role I would play that needs to be applied in industry. Because in industry, what I've found is that it's in depth, right? It's a SME kind of role where you need to be a subject matter expertise in your own domain. You need to find which is the area that you are really good at and keep deep diving into it, right? So we talk about the tea concept, right? KPMG provided me the upper slab of tea, and GE provided me the depth of the domain which I wanted to be part of. So life at consulting and life at industry, I would say, are different, but I think the challenges remain same. Everyone is trying to solve the same challenge. Like we try to do it more internally, and KPMG provides the industry best practices. So this is something that I experienced throughout my journey.
I love the way, Amit, you are now able to kind of segregate the different sort of roles that you play. Very different from, I'm sure, what your own level of clarity was when you were at GRMI. So tell me, how happy are you with your professional career, the way it's shaped up, what you wanted to do and where you are, and the way you look forward? So talk to us a little bit about that.
So currently, like just one thing, just wanted to tell you is that it's always I have never been complacent. I have never felt that I'm in a comfort zone. I would never want to understand where I'm currently. It's just that I keep working hard, making sure that I upskill myself. So that has always been the USP, and which is what something even JRMI inspired always from the initial, from the scratch, right? Keep upskilling, right? Post JRMI, it doesn't mean that what we have done at GRMI would stay as it is. The industry, the consulting way, all the corporate across globe is changing in a very dynamic um, uh, scenarios, right? So because of which, what I feel is that I want to keep upskilling myself, making sure that the area of expertise is something that I keep like just making sure that I re-emphasize on those innovations like example, like Gen AI coming into cyber perspective. We are talking about quantum computing in cyber, right? This is something really out of the scope, but we need to deep dive in what are the various domains which can integrate with cyber so that we are relevant to the industry and to all our stakeholders. So in terms of the future, what I look into my corporate career is that I want to keep growing as a leader because what I felt within the GE world is that leadership is something that what is read in textbooks and what is actually applied in practical scenario is way different, right? We talk about management and we talk about the triad of top management, like how it needs to be worked from a theory perspective, but from a practical perspective, how do you inspire people, making sure that we get the best out of them, right? In every aspect, stakeholder management is something that is very, very key because I am sure that cybersecurity has changed from a technical enabler to a business enabler. So because of which I want to make sure that I keep polishing my leadership skills, work with various CXOs, gain experience and information from them, and this is how I want to grow in my future years.
Fantastic. Absolutely inspirational for students, I think, who want to pursue a career in this track. So, going a little off from pure professional life, uh, classroom in GRMI taught you some things. You just said that your whole concept of continuous upskilling is something you carry from your GRMI days. What beyond classroom learning do you think you took away from GRMI?
Basically the hardcore practical experience. I would say no other institutes can provide because what GRMI provides is we have educational plus corporate driven education. That means you have faculty from pure academia perspective and you have faculties from who have already been one of the rock stars in industry. So combination of which has been always the USP. That would be the top thing that I would always think. Second thing is that I can provide you various references like sessions with Rahul Pagare, sessions with Punis, sessions with you, sessions with Ekta Dugal, like just cutting across various aspects. We were thinking that why would strategic thinking is something that is something very key for risk management or risk management, intelligent risk management professionals. But actually, in reality, I think this is where that really helps. That's the USP because GRMI it's not only about risk, about talking about risk, about various domains of risk. It's also adding the management perspective also just to make sure that they are relevant wherever they're going. But the USP has always been the academia plus the industry expertise or SMEs joining hands together and making sure that it's a well thought learning experience. And this is what I've always learned from my mentors. I've always learned from my faculties is that just focus on the area that you want, that you are passionate about, and apply those principles into that domain, and the world is for you. So that's always been the mantra for me.
Fantastic. So Amit, you are one of those who's kind of got identified and have agreed to be part of a team who will be interviewing our future students over a period of time. So talk to us about. We are excited about it. So how excited about are you about being able to give back to the institute through that route?
Absolutely, sir. I think thank you for the whole management of GRMI, having me as one of the panelists for the future upcoming risk intelligent professionals coming over to GMI. I am really excited. It's just not being on the panel, but just to make sure that I can relate to my journey at GRMI and how they are relating to. It's just that experience. It's a reverse engineering learning process. This always I learned is that I want also want to know the perspectives of the young professionals coming over to institute, right? What new are they bringing? Because I think this is the only institute which has never classified into which area of education they come from. I think this is the institute where it has proved that you come from batches of uh, administration, you come from batches of engineering, you come from batches of economics or commerce, but everyone is on the same plane. So that's something that really, really few institutes provide, especially in risk domain, because everyone thinks risk and cyber, from my perspective, they think a technical subject, more of technical. So people really, an example, like when I talk about cyber, people start thinking about networking to IAS and CA, who's an auditor, which is a myth, I would say, which GRMI has proved that, right? You have not only to be qualified and CA to be an inter auditor or any auditor in any big force. I think this is a place where professionals come from various uh, professionals' journey or academia perspective and build that platform. So to take their career forward. So that's something that I would look out. What are the perspectives of young professionals coming to GRMI, and how would they take pride represent GRMI and where they want to take us as a alumni?
Terrific. Okay, so just getting onto slightly lighter side of life, Amit, beyond classroom learning, faculty exposure. Uh, if I was to say, what would be those top memories that you like to reminisce about your days in GRMI, your batchmates, and whatever else we did together then? What would
Yeah.
you call out as your top memories?
I would say one of the top memory I would remember is giving all the final semester exams in Delhi winters, which I have never experienced. I think that was something that really I was in touch with Yogi ji during all my exams just to make sure that the classroom is like well heated up, just to make sure that I write the right content for those answers. Another, I think, another yeah, incident, I think, just coming over because I have never been, I had never been to Gurgaon or Delhi NCR before. Just coming over day one, getting into the zone of again formal education was something that it was something very very different because new environment, new location altogether, new culture altogether. I was That was something that I really remember of. The third and the last thing I would remember is that everyone in my batch, I think, were really we had a really good unity. But we had a good couple of folks like Praful Bhansal and Palachinani providing the much required some kind of fun during the class after class was something really really delightful. And obviously we had that zone of all the management team gelling out together, chilling out together, and always we had that mantra of work hard and also party hard. So that really something that we have still kept in mind. Not just you're going out there and just partying, but you need to work hard. Then you can, obviously you have that, you deserve to party hard. So I think that that is something that I remember.
Terrific. Great to hear that because you'll be happy to know, Amit, that's something that we've retained even now. While we now have batches of 50 from where you guys were,
Yeah.
but we continue to retain that DNA. Even now, our BYOB sessions haven't stopped. They've become larger and more fun. So it's so great to hear that you all continue to sort of remember that
Yeah.
DNA, which is work hard, party harder. My Anderson Day DNAs, which I've tried to bring to the institute. So
Yeah.
terrific to see you sort of talk about that. So how much do you think GRMI has shaped your professional career? And this is not because we want to hear good things about GRMI, Amit, but everyone comes into an institute for learning, and obviously a large part of the institute's job is to deliver that learning. But beyond learning, you also develop as a professional, and you sort of imbibe certain things that then over time shape your professional career. So, what do you think has been the role that GRMI has played in shaping your professional career so far, and maybe it will in future as well?
I would start with first thing, an important aspect is professionalism. I think this is something that is much, much required. At least for the batch that I was part of initial days, it was professionalism, the mannerism. How do you work? Like example, we never thought that we are coming to a college, or we never thought we are coming to an institute. Whenever we try to interact with the faculties, because we were taught how do you interact with corporate leaders, right? So professionally is something that always has been the USP. The second thing is that communication skills. This is something where I feel majority of the institutes lack those things because more of subject, more of theory, more of technicality, but you're losing out on the verbal aspects, which because as a professional, as a risk management professional, is something that you derive data, but if you can't able to articulate the data to the leadership, is something that a big question mark on the competency. So this is something that I've learned from GRMI. The professionalism, the discipline, and the communication. I think those were the key players for me to drive to be what I am today.
Terrific. So, if you want to sort of go back in time and try and recollect you as a person, uh, uh, and the way you evolved, and compare yourself to your peers from before GRMI, right? They still remain your friends, they're your peer group.
Yeah.
How do you sort of see that comparison?
I would say, I think I have evolved as a person, but the key driver was first thing that I think one of the first student had the kind of a risk management experience getting into risk management proper formal education. So that was something that put myself into one of the priority that I need to learn more and deliver more. That kind of responsibility was there, and because of which it has helped me just to make sure that when I compare myself to the peers, is that those the key foundations which I spoke about, the professionalism, mannerism, and communication has always been the differentiator. When I compare myself to my peers in GRMI and outside of GRMI also, whom I have worked, is something that I am able to articulate the risk in a much better way to the stakeholders. This is what the day one of GRMI talks about. It's not about example. When we talk about risk, everyone, every citizen of the globe can. This is a very interesting topic for everyone because when we talk about risk, anyone can tell risk. But as a risk intelligent professional, how do you articulate risk is something has always been a differentiator. Even now, people in consulting, people in industry, whomever I talk to, all the senior leadership is something that this is something they are not able to answer. And this is where GRMI comes into picture. Example, when we talk about risk, we need to bifurcate what is threat and what is vulnerability. But the thing is that people directly jump onto risk without understanding what is the threat, what is the vulnerability, right? So this is something GRMI has always as a basic. So this is the something a basic foundation, but I feel this has always been able for me. It has always been the differentiator to able to articulate this risk in a much better manner, much impactful manner, and yeah, that's how I can when I compare to my peers. I think this is where this is driving me as a better professional.
Great. So, the last question, I guess, unless you had more to add, and I think this is very interesting for students who want to pursue a career specifically in risk, is how much of what you learned at GRMI, beyond the professionalism, communication, those are obviously very important attributes, but just from the sheer curriculum content itself, how much of what you learned at JRMI could you apply in the different roles that you've had experience in, be it in consulting, be it in your role now in GE? The applicability of what you learned at your place of work, because that's where we've said that as an institute, we've always thought we are different, which is we don't teach stuff that is bookish. It's actually stuff that you go and do. So, from someone like you who's actually done so well in professional life, how would you think you've been able to apply what you learned in the class?
I think this is something that I was looking out for to answer to very specific. I think this is where, example, the practicality. When I mention practicality, it's not about a business case study or a practical case study. When I meant practicality, it meant how do you write RCM down? How do you do a risk control matrix? How do you do a risk assessment? How do you risk heat map? Is something that I've learned from scratch in GRMI. It's not something about we are taking an example, but we are actually taking an industry, deep diving into it, seeing what are the various discrepancies out there, what are the various nuances out there, just to make sure that we do the right mapping to understand the whole business as a sector and understand what are the risks from those industry or sector. So this is something that I always believe that has helped me. Second important point is that in terms of when we are writing down the exams or when we are doing an assignment, right? It's not just that, okay, there is some topic and we are just going and doing a research, but how the projects like was getting reviewed is something that has helped us to be a better professional, because it was actually an experience of delivering a project case to a senior stakeholder of any organization. So that kind of a role play, practical role play, which has instilled those like questions expected from the senior management across industries, getting well prepared for the goods and bads. I think those are the kind of very important aspect. And third important aspect is about having confidence in what are you saying, right? Example, no one is a subject matter expert in risk, I would say, because risk is evolving every day, right? Today, I would be saying, okay, this is one of the top risks for my company, but tomorrow the risk assessment, the risk research changes and everything changes, because world is expecting, because of the cross country wars happening across a lot of dynamic changes, the landscape is evolving. So what I really mean is that GRMI has always revised their whole curriculum on a consistent basis, added new programs like TPRM as one of the most important aspects, because I feel TPRM is something that I really like and I really admire that particular domain, because it cut across various all the domains of risk, right? From the onboard of risk, because these days everyone wants to outsource. So even the third party is outsourcing to a fourth party, right? What about those risks? That's are the big question mark. We talk about software supply chain management coming into picture, right? No one has a clue about it. ESG, we talk about ESG, but GRMI is a institute where these are the topics they pick, they select, and make sure that the students are well aware of these topics, well learned in these topics, just to make sure that they're relevant, and they are also forecasting what are the new upcoming changes in the market, so that even the employer loves those things. Example, in consulting, it's not about just what they're doing, but what would come. Like example, what are the different service lines they can build in future is something that they love, and that is how our students are being picked by all the big four. So this is where I think GRMI has always been the differentiator in terms of turning academia plus practicality, like providing an overall experience to the profession.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Amit. I think the way you articulated this, a few things that struck me. One, the fact that you continue to follow GRMI as an institute, because that's why that we've introduced TPRM, we've introduced ESG, we keep our curriculum current. So love to see that an alum sort of follow us. We obviously try and keep you all informed, but I think it's great, feels great to see that you all actually follow us. And just the way you are able to actually explain the practical usage here coming from you, I think it's going to be valuable for the students. Being dead honest, Amit, you and I have met many times, spoken many times after you graduated, but I think they've been far more informal chats. But this kind of a slightly more formal interaction tells me why you're doing so well, because I see that confidence in you. I see the ability to articulate your thoughts in a sharp, precise manner. So really excited to see how you evolved, Amit, and would love to wish you the absolute best as you continue to build your career and make us proud of our alumni doing so well. Thank you once again, Amit, for your time, and all the very, very best. I'm sure we'll continue to talk. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. It's been a pleasure out here. Thank you.